let's face it,
Hmm.
who wouldn't want a sales team that's not just hitting their targets, but like crushing them,
Yeah,
A team that's just a well-oiled machine bringing in those big wins.
absolutely.
That's the dream.
It is, yeah.
And you know what I found so interesting about this Amethyst method that we're going to really dive into today?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this magic bullet.
Right.
It's not promising you some like crazy thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a system specifically designed to help you succeed in the stone industry.
Yes.
And it's backed by actual results, like real stories.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about this is it really flips the script on traditional sales training, because a lot of times we jump into techniques, closing, tactics,
Mm-hmm.
but it really starts with self-awareness first through data.
Okay, so it's not just about like looking at the sales numbers,
Yeah.
but it's using data to really understand
Exactly.
your team,
Yes.
their strengths, weaknesses, all of that.
They call it data-driven performance.
Okay.
It's establishing that baseline so you can figure out, okay, what do we need to improve?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Where do we tailor our strategies?
Yeah, you can't optimize what you don't understand.
Right.
So how do they even go about gathering this data?
So they focus on a combination of key metrics.
Okay.
You have your open deals, your average order size,
Mhm.
and they found a surprisingly wide range on that alone,
Really?
which I thought was interesting.
Wow.
Close rates and then time to close.
All super important when you're looking at sales.
Essential.
Yeah.
But then they take it a step further.
Yeah.
They have this thing called call IQ,
Call IQ. Okay.
which I love because it looks at how effective your sales team is
Okay.
on that first phone call.
Oh, that first phone call. So important.
Make or break.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
So give me an example.
Yeah. What's like a high IQ call versus a low one?
So let's say somebody calls in, right?
Yeah.
They're interested in maybe redoing their kitchen countertop.
Okay.
A low IQ call. You're just getting the basic information.
Okay.
What are your store hours? What's pricing? And that's it.
Got it.
You're done.
Okay. Yeah, you're just an order taker at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
High IQ.
Okay.
You're taking control of the conversation. You're asking qualifying questions.
Okay.
You're understanding the scope of the project. What's their vision? What's their budget? Okay, so you're not just like trying to get them off the phone.
No.
You're really trying to understand, like, what are they actually looking for?
What are their pain points? And you might even,
Yeah.
suggest, hey, we have these materials that would be great for you to check out in the showroom.
Oh, that's good.
So when they come in, it's a much more
Guided experience.
personalized, guided, yes.
I love that. That's so smart.
From the start.
Because if you can get them to the showroom and they're already kind of bought in,
Yes.
that's huge.
And that's just one example of
So-
how they use data
Okay.
to inform and refine the sales process.
Yeah, so you're not just tracking numbers, but it's the why behind the number.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
The story.
So we've gathered all this data.
Right.
We're understanding our team.
But how do you then use that
Yes.
to get them motivated?
Yes. So that's where I think this is really interesting.
Okay.
It's radical transparency.
Okay.
They have something called the ROC Report.
ROC Report. Okay.
It's a daily performance dashboard
Okay.
that everyone on the team can see.
Whoa. So it's not just like the sales manager
Yep.
behind closed doors looking at numbers.
It's available for everybody.
Everybody can see how everybody's doing.
Everybody.
Interesting.
And this is one of the biggest things they say drives a culture of healthy competition
Okay.
and continuous improvement.
Okay, so give me an example. Like,
So they share this anecdote
Yeah.
about these two salespeople,
okay.
Jim and Logan.
Okay.
Jim, he's the seasoned vet. He's been there.
He's
comfortable. He's been crushing it. He's at the top.
He's got his way of doing things.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Then you have Logan. He's the newcomer.
He's hungry.
He's hungry to prove himself.
Yeah.
So before the ROC Report,
Okay.
Jim was considered the top performer,
Right.
but it was more so perception at that point.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Yeah.
But because Logan was more data-driven,
Mhm.
he was all about the ROC Report,
Okay.
and he started crushing it.
Okay.
This lit a fire under Jim.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Because now it's like,
And can't just
it's not just, oh, Jim's the best.
rest on your laurels.
It's like, no, the numbers are right there.
It's all out there.
Yeah, and you can't hide from it.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this data-driven approach. It eliminates all the assumptions.
Okay.
It provides a very clear picture of what's working and what's not.
I love that. That's fantastic. So, okay, we've assessed like where we're at, and we've used that data to motivate the team.
Right.
Feels like we've built a really good foundation here.
Yes.
But how does the Amethyst method take all of this and turn it into like an actual repeatable sales process.
Yeah, so this is where their sales process optimization comes in.
Okay.
They've actually developed this really cool 7-step workflow
Okay.
that takes the guesswork out of closing deals.
Okay, I like this.
And they use technology in some really interesting ways.
Okay, because I am all about using tech to make things easier.
Yes.
So walk me through this a little bit.
Yeah, so it all starts with capturing that initial spark of interest. That moment when a potential customer reaches out to you, whether that's a phone call, website inquiry, somebody walks into the showroom.
You got to capture that lead before they go somewhere else.
Exactly. And then the next step is really securing that face-to-face meeting as quickly as possible.
Got it. So you're transitioning from just like passively receiving inquiries to like really actively getting them into the process.
Actively guiding that customer journey.
Yes. Yeah. Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly.
Keep that momentum going.
Yes. And they actually recommend even using technology here to streamline this process. So using like automated appointment reminders through text messages to reduce those no-shows.
Because nobody checks their email. Like if I get a text message, I'm way more likely to see that.
Way more likely. And it shows that you value their time as well.
Yes, that's a good point.
Right.
Yep.
So then during that meeting, it's all about building rapport, really understanding their needs, and then selling them on your company's ability to deliver.
Okay. So that's where that call IQ comes in.
Exactly.
All that stuff we talked about earlier.
Exactly. That's where you really solidify that trust.
Yep.
That expert, we've got you.
We got this.
Yes.
Okay, so we've captured that lead, we've scheduled the meeting, built rapport, and then it's time to
present the quote.
Okay.
And the Amethyst Method, they emphasize speed and efficiency here.
Okay.
They say getting that quote to them quickly can dramatically increase your closing rate.
It makes sense if somebody's like shopping around and you're the first one to get it to them.
Yes.
They're going to be like, oh, these guys are on it.
They're responsive.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just send the quote and hope for the best.
Right, right.
The follow-up is where it's at.
Okay.
So the next few steps in the workflow are all about nurturing that relationship.
Okay.
Addressing any concerns they have and guiding them toward that yes.
Okay. And I feel like this is where a lot of companies or sales teams fall short.
Yes.
Is the follow-up.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot, especially when you're juggling multiple leads.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what do they recommend?
So timing and personalization is key.
Okay.
So they recommend an initial follow-up within 2 days of sending that quote. Just checking in. Are there any questions? Keeping that conversation going.
So you don't want to be like too pushy, but you want to like let them know that you're there.
Be persistent but respectful.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent follow-ups are less about, are you ready to purchase, and more about providing value, offering support, reminding them of the benefits of working with your company.
Right.
They even recommend sharing relevant content, like case studies or testimonials.
Oh, that's good.
That address the customer's needs.
Very good.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a trusted advisor at that point, not just a salesperson.
Exactly.
I like that.
And then in that final stage of this follow-up process, they recommend introducing a subtle sense of urgency. Not in a, salesy way, but reminding them that, hey, this quote may expire soon.
That little nudge.
Yes.
Yeah.
That little, hey, just so you know.
It's amazing how effective that is.
Right.
Yeah.
It gets them off the fence.
Okay, so we've gone through, this whole workflow is great.
Yes.
It's very well thought out.
Yes.
But what happens if, like, despite your best efforts, a customer goes dark?
So they have a strategy for that, too.
Okay.
They recommend waiting a week or two.
Okay.
And then making one final attempt to re-engage.
Okay.
But this is the key.
Okay.
It's not about you at this point.
Right.
And your desire to get the sale. It's about them.
So you're not like, hey, did you get my quote?
It's not that. It's more like
reframe the conversation around their needs.
And what they were hoping to accomplish.
Right.
So you might say something like, hey, I know you were hoping to get that kitchen renovation done before the holidays.
Right.
Just wanted to check in, see if you have any questions about the quote or the timeline.
Oh, that's smart, because you're reminding them of why they even reached out in the first place.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that. It's very clever, very subtle, but clever.
Yes.
Okay, so this entire workflow is very strategic.
Yes.
Customer focused.
Yes.
I really like it.
And it's underpinned by technology.
Yes.
You know, from the automated reminders to CRM systems to keep everything organized.
Right.
But they say all of this is useless without
the right people and the right training.
100%.
Because you can have the best system in the world, but if your team doesn't know how to use it...
Exactly. It's useless.
Yeah. And they actually call this next phase empowerment through training.
Oh.
And this is where that human element really comes in.
So no more just like throwing a manual at somebody and being like, all right, go sell some stone.
It's not software training.
Okay.
It's sales training.
Okay, got it.
They emphasize these bite-sized training sessions that focus on specific elements of the system.
Okay.
So very digestible.
Yeah, you don't want to overwhelm people.
No.
You got to take it step by step.
Exactly. You don't teach somebody how to swim by throwing them in the ocean.
Exactly. So how do they recommend rolling this out to a team then?
So they're big proponents of finding those early adopters on your team. Those people who love the new CRM.
Yes, they get excited about the technology.
They're like, oh, what's this button do?
Yes.
Okay.
They're your champions.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah, and that energy is contagious.
It is.
So if you get a couple people on board, really excited.
And they say, have them showcase it.
Oh, that's smart.
To the rest of the team.
Yeah, so it's not just like a top-down. It's like, hey, Jim figured this out, and now Jim's going to show you how to do it.
Right. And then they have this really interesting concept that they talk about called managing in the red.
Managing in the red. Okay, that sounds a little scary.
So it's not about creating this culture of fear or anything like that.
Okay.
But they're big on visual cues within the system to flag any deviations from the process.
Okay.
So let's say a quote is about to expire.
Okay.
Or a follow-up call hasn't been logged.
Got it.
It triggers a red alert.
Okay, so it's like that thing pops up, like, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do this.
Exactly. It's like that reminder.
Okay.
So it creates that accountability.
Got it.
It also helps you identify roadblocks.
Right, before they become big problems.
Before they become big problems, exactly.
That's a really good system.
And this all plays into their, focus on continuous improvement, which they call honing the edge.
I like it. Honing the edge. Okay.
So it's that recognition that even with a good system in place,
you can always improve.
Always be improving.
Okay.
They recommend regular group training sessions.
Okay.
Not just one and done. Ongoing. Got it. To keep it fresh. Reinforce the methodology. Share best practices.
Keep those principles top of mind.
Yes.
Yeah, so everybody's on the same page.
And this is where they emphasize the power of focusing on leading indicators.
Okay, so instead of just looking at, how much you sold at the end of the month.
Right.
You're looking at, the activities that are actually leading up to that.
Yes, exactly. So the number of customer interactions.
Got it.
The average order size, those things that are going to give you that pulse.
It's like it's being proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly.
Okay, I like this a lot.
But it's easy to get caught up in the team aspect of this.
Right.
But you also need to remember the individuals.
Right, because sales, at the end of the day, it's like an individual. It's a team sport, but it's also like, you got to hit your numbers.
And so the Amethyst Method, they're big on aligning individual goals with those company objectives.
So it's not enough to just be like, this is the target.
It's not enough. You got to tap into, what motivates each person.
Right, because some people are motivated by money.
Right.
Some people are motivated by, recognition.
Yes.
It's all different for everybody.
And they say, the most successful salespeople, they have that why.
They have
that intrinsic motivation that's pushing them.
You love it.
And so they encourage managers to sit down with their reps and have these open conversations. What are you working towards?
Yeah. What do you want?
What do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
And then use that to create personalized plans. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that because now you're bought in.
Yes.
You're like, this is for me.
And you feel supported.
Yes. And you're not just a number.
Exactly.
You're like an actual person.
Yes. And, all of this is great. You have the motivated team.
Right.
But you need that constant flow of leads.
Yes, you do. You got to have people to sell to.
You got to have people to sell to.
Okay.
And that's the final piece of the puzzle here.
Okay.
Building a sales-fueled pipeline.
Okay.
This is where they dive into marketing.
Okay. And they probably have a very specific way to approach this.
They do. They call it their market domination framework.
Ooh, market domination framework. I liked it.
It's all about strategic, targeted marketing.
Okay.
Specifically designed for the stone fabrication industry.
Got it. So they're big on focusing on very specific geographic areas.
Okay.
Like affluent suburbs.
Okay.
That are going to have that ideal customer.
Got it. Yeah, so you're not just like putting an ad out.
No more billboards.
To everybody.
Looking for the best.
Yeah, it's very, very targeted.
Laser focused, and they're big on using data to track how effective these campaigns are.
Because what's the point of doing all this if you're not seeing results?
Exactly. And they're constantly analyzing the data, figuring out what messages are resonating, which channels are performing.
It's a constant evolution.
It is. It's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
So this market domination framework, I mean, this is a really powerful tool for growth.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about so much today. It's amazing.
It's a lot.
Like the Amethyst Method, it's not just like one thing. It's like...
It's a system.
It's a whole system.
Yeah.
It's data. It's the process. It's the technology.
Your people.
The people. It's everything.
It's everything.
It's really impressive.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
Because you can take these principles and apply them
to any industry, really.
To any industry. It's really about building a successful business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's focusing on those fundamentals.
And it's that reminder that, yes, sales tactics will change.
Right.
Technology will change.
Yeah, for sure.
But those core principles...
They stay the same.
They stay the same.
It's really amazing. I've learned so much today about this. It's incredible.
I'm glad.
So if you are ready to transform your sales process, remember to check out our show notes.
All the links will be there.
All the things that we talked about today.
Until next time.
Happy selling, everybody.